we're getting a piece of breaking news where, according to Bloomberg, what we are learning is that reports are coming in that India has clinched a $2 billion Russian submarine deal as Putin visits India, and India will pay about $2 billion to lease a nuclear-powered submarine from Russia, according to reports which are coming in. This is the big piece of news that's coming in when it comes to the situation between India and Russia and the mission to expand those strategic and defense ties. Now, according to reports which are coming in, the finalizing delivery of the vessel after roughly a decade of talks, this has now been streamlined as President Vladimir Putin makes this visit to New Delhi. So a $2 billion deal to lease a nuclear-powered submarine from Russia. We can see the deepening of the ties between India and the Putin regime. So India will pay about $2 billion to lease a nuclear-powered submarine from Russia, according to sources. This is coming right ahead of Putin's visit to Delhi, as both sides are only expanding their defense ties. Remember, on the cards are also more S-400 units, as well as an S-500 upgrade, as well as the Su-57 jet. So in addition to all of that, also, India will pay $2 billion for a nuclear-powered submarine, is what the reports are coming in when it comes to the entire mission to expand the defense ties between India and Russia, and also bolster India's Atmanirbhar mission. I'm joined by my colleague Siddhant Mishra on the broadcast to get more context as well as more details when it comes to this big development on the India-Russia defense front. Siddhant, over to you.
Well, that's right. In fact, Ayushman, this is what Bloomberg is reporting, that India clinches $2 billion Russia submarine deal ahead of Putin's visit. In fact, India will pay about $2 billion to lease a nuclear-powered submarine from Russia, according to people familiar with the matter, finalizing delivery of the vessel after roughly a decade of talks, just as Vladimir Putin makes a visit to New Delhi this week. In fact, talks for leasing the attack submarine from Russia had stalled over the years because of price negotiations, the people said, asking not to be identified. This is what Bloomberg is reporting. The discussions are private. The two sides have not agreed on the deal, with Indian officials visiting Russian shipyard also in November. India expects to take delivery of the vessel within 2 years, although the complexity of the project means it could be later this year. In fact, Putin is set to arrive in India on Thursday for his first visit, and perhaps this, if this report of Bloomberg turns into a reality, or perhaps finds mention in the joint statement, or some kind of an announcement happens, perhaps it would be huge, because as reported by Bloomberg, this deal was stalled from a long time. And now we're getting to know that in next 2 years, if this deal once gets finalized, then the Putin will Russia, India will get Russian submarine, nuclear-powered submarine from Russia.
Right, and Siddhant, at the same time, given the fact that we're also seeing those big defense deals on the annual, the upgradation to the S-500 system, more S-400 units, which were pivotal during Operation Sindoor, a possible deal on the Sukhoi 57 jets, and now this $2 billion nuclear submarine, which India is likely to lease from Russia. So a whole gamut of defense deals, also something that's central to expand India's Atmanirbhar mission when it comes to the defense sector.
Well, that's right, Ayushman. In fact, now India is more serious as far as technology transfer is concerned, as far as joint production is concerned. And in fact, Russia contributes to about 50% of the total, equipment, products in the Indian armed forces. So, given the history, also the understanding between the two countries, the defense cooperation with Russia is deep. In fact, in recent few years, it has got diversified, given India buying Rafales from France, then, big defense deals with the United States, etc., etc. But also, this once again proves the point that Russia continues to be one of the key supplier of defense products and defense equipment to India. If this deal gets finalized and finds mention in the joint statement, it was under the discussion. Perhaps at what stage this deal is right now, we don't know. All we are quoting is Bloomberg. So let's see what happens, because today the talks will take place between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, restrictive level talks. So perhaps maybe by tomorrow afternoon, we will get a clear picture that how whether there's going to be some big announcement or whether it will only be mentioned somewhere in the official document which will be released by both sides.
Right. So this is a huge development that's coming in. This is being reported by Bloomberg as India has now clinched that deal after almost 10 years to lease that nuclear-powered submarine. It's a $2 billion deal. Let's take that to our guest, Dr. Vladimir Kulikov. How do you see this huge development coming in? So many defense deals on the anvil, be it the S-400, the S-500 upgrade, the Sukhoi 57 jets, and now this report that's coming in that India has now, after 10 years of talks, almost clinched that deal to pay $2 billion to lease a Russian nuclear submarine. This deepening of defense ties, something very indicative to the Modi government, which has focused on the India first as well as India's defense manufacturing capacity at the domestic level, and that has only empowered its strategic relations with a nation like Russia.
Well, that's not a simple question, you know. As I see it, Russia is not following the rules of international. If the, let's say, military cooperation between Russia and India will develop, it could be, it could have adverse effects, after effects on the international system. Russia is no longer a global player. Yes, do we agree on it? It's a regional player, and it might happen that strengthening military cooperation between Russia and India could have also negative effects on international world order, because as I see it, I might be wrong, of course, it's better to play to keep to international agreements, and I don't see the desire of Russian leadership to
right. I think Dr. Kulikov, I think you can gather your thoughts. I think we're having some issues with your line as well. But Mark, I want to take that point to you. This is a view coming in from Moscow, from Dr. Kulikov, saying that these ties, these deepening of defense ties between India and Russia may not be good for the international order. But at the same time, several experts are also saying that this multipolar paradigm that is being championed by India and China is only giving more strategic edges when it comes to other parts of the world beyond the Western hemisphere, beyond the Western sphere of influence. Do you agree with Dr. Kulikov that these deepening of ties will only be detrimental to the international order? What's your take on it?
I think it's a very short-term thing, and it's definitely a PR coup from Putin's side. I'm sure the timing is no coincidence. This is absolutely well planned at this point, because it plays into Putin's hands. But I absolutely agree with Dr. Kulikov that Russia is no longer a global player, and actually we are seeing this is sort of interesting. The optics, also the relationship between Russia and India right now, because India is definitely the land of the future, the most quickly growing economically-wise country on the planet, and Russia is the country of the past, because it's actually the one country which is shrinking. It's now barely making top 10 on the list, and as was said before, India's moving up to number 3. So the relationship here, the world is still talking about Russia as if it is still a global player, and it's definitely not. So I think this is not a long-term. I think this is just short-term transactional stuff, and it provides energy security for India. But in the long term, India is definitely moving up, and Russia is definitely moving down, and that's not going to be changed, whatever happens during these couple of days.
Right, but Mr. Brolin, given the fact that India wants to develop its domestic defense sector, Russia is an established defense player, Russia is an energy exporter, India is a net energy importer, this relationship just makes strategic sense. Wouldn't you agree with that? That when it comes to India-Russia ties, since independence, it's only made sense when it comes to energy security, when it comes to national security as well.
I think absolutely in terms of energy security, it would be sort of unwise for India not to take advantage of the cheap oil from Russia. Arms security, I'm not so sure, because I think Russia is heavily strained. And I'm not sure they actually have, and they are actually isolated from a technology perspective during one of the most innovative, possibly the most innovative eras ever. And I'm not sure they will be a top player in the arms industry over the coming years when things are moving so fast on the IA landscape. And they are not going to be on top of that while fighting a war, because they don't have the money and they don't have the time for it. So I absolutely agree with you on the energy side. That makes sense. Arms side, it might make sense for now, but not in the long run. I think India will find better cooperation partners further on.
Right, so you're saying India can get a better deal on the international stage, but currently when it comes to the trust paradigm, India has trusted Russia since independence, and Russia has always delivered. I think that is the kind of mechanism we're working with. That is the history we're working with.